Hi, moms. All right, I can tell recently I've had a lot more people joining my Facebook group, and I want to just reiterate, if you're new, that you're equipped to bring this same recovery to your children that I brought to mine. Okay, so it's okay if you don't have a medical background. I had no medical background, none. And yeah, I went to college and I even went to grad school, but that was all in the area of marketing research, being a statistician. It was the area of business. And it really didn't have anything to do with nutrition, detoxing a child, whatnot. So I really don't mind whatever your background is. You can do this, and I hope that I can decrease the amount of time it takes you. I can condense that knowledge for you, and that's what I try to do with these videos. If there's one thing I can do for you, it's to say, I don't care what a doctor has told you, or a well-meaning friend or family member, or a well-meaning neurologist or specialist, occupational therapist, speech therapist, developmental therapist. You name it, we did it. We did homeopathy, we did cranial sacral method, we did the Anat Banyel method, a lot of brain training. If it said that this might help my child with all of his high intensity behaviors, impulsivity, lack of focus, or my other child who had very high anger issues, had tics and twitches, facial tics and swirling hands, like if it was something I could read or watch a video about, I did it. And I want you to know that there's nothing special about me, in the same way that there's nothing special about you. The difference is that I have gotten to the point where I now just know, like I know, like I know, I'm equipped to bring healing to my child. And I want you to know, like you know, like you know, that you can do the exact same thing, all right? So what I want you to also realize is that you're the most equipped. Because if you are the parent of your child, then you have the blessing of being upfront and close and seeing patterns of behavior, what is causing triggers, what works, what doesn't work. But there's where I want to speak to you today. One of the things I used to do when I was first bringing recovery to Charlie is that I was very quick to say, oh, here's this behavior. Okay, what do we do? What do we eat? Oh, a couple of days ago, I think he got into this or he got into that. So it must be that. And therefore, okay, we need to pull back more on that. And what I want you to realize is that I was making a really important mistake that I needed to make at first, maybe simply just to share with you guys, is to understand this. I try to stress to people, especially those that I'm working with and I'm coaching, I try to use the word detox more often than I do diet. Detox more often than I do diet. I try to shy away from saying food sensitivities more often than I do saying things like, oh, that won't contribute to a healthy detox, or that's not as good for a detox than this other food, all right? And I do that because I'm trying to get you to see your child's body differently than you might already see it. I'm trying to get you to understand that when you see a behavior, a negative behavior, it is not necessarily because he went off diet, but rather he could be completely clean, super clean, no triggers, no inflammatory foods. And I usually use the top 6, which for me would be cow's dairy, gluten, dyes, refined sugars, seed oils, corn, and preservatives. Okay, that's 8. And the reason for that isn't about necessarily food sensitivities and food allergies, but rather those foods right now are too much on their digestive load, okay? Because we're healing and sealing the gut. We're also trying to cease an inflammatory response that has been going on for weeks, months, years. And so to do that, we lighten the load on the digestive tract so that the body now almost has a pause. And instead of having to fight off the new foods that are coming in that it can't assimilate into itself, that it sees as toxic right now, because typically there's a leaky gut situation. And so these food fragments are traveling into the inner parts of the body. They send off an inflammatory response. And so we want to remember, where do toxins live? Well, they live in fat, and the brain is more than 2/3 fat. So that's a really great place for them to go hang out, okay? And so as we start this detox, as we start giving the children food that's easier for them to digest, it now frees up the body to start eliminating those substances that have been trapped in those cells for so long that have been either causing or contributing to their inflammation. So as those substances come out of their cells and travel back through the bloodstream, the brain, the system, and are eliminated, you will see behaviors. So in other words, this doesn't mean that every negative or exacerbated set of behaviors that you see when you've stayed so consistently on this detox, these negative behaviors don't always mean bad thing. Doesn't even mean you went off diet. It could actually mean the opposite. You can start getting excited. I started to get weirdly excited when I saw some strange behaviors pop up, knowing we had been clean, because I knew, oh, there's that detox. Bring it on. Bring it on. And so that's why I want you to know that you don't have to be so quick to, like, for me, I would be blaming my husband. Did you give him pizza? Did he get into the milk? Like, whatever it was. That's not necessarily what's happening. The cleaner you make his diet, the simpler it is to eat and digest. That means the brain now has all this energy to start going into the cells and eliminating that which is no longer supportive to the body. So don't get confused when you see negative behaviors. It doesn't always mean you did something wrong. No. After a while, you're going to start to get weirdly excited. Oh my gosh, I'm doing something right. When all of a sudden you're seeing a lot of congestion, for instance, or maybe you're seeing a lot of tics all of a sudden when you've been fine for 2 weeks and you were super clean. Yeah, all that stuff is coming to the surface. So garbage in, garbage out, and you will absolutely see behaviors. So I just wanted to share that with you today in case you're struggling and feeling as if you're not equipped and you don't get how to do this, and hey, wait, I went off those foods that she told me to go off, and yet now I'm seeing more stuff, so forget it. You know what, let's just all go out for pizza because this is a pain in the ass and it doesn't work and it's causing my family to all like have a civil war here, and my husband is ticked off at me because he's like, what are we giving Johnny? And I'm like, I don't know, this girl on YouTube told me to give him this and now he's crazy. And I want you to know, like, this girl on YouTube is trying to help you. And if I could just impart to you something I had to understand, when I tell you, I still remember where I was when it went like, shh, and I got it. And I was literally in a laundromat. This is funny that I'm telling you this. I was in a laundromat because my dryer had broken and I had done a bunch of wash, and we all know how fun that is, right? So now you've got hefty bags filled, trash bags filled with wet laundry, to a laundromat that you don't often go to in an area you're not really familiar with, and you're still trying to figure out how to do all the laundry, and all of that's going on. And then you've got a kid who's batshit crazy at home, and you go back into yet another maybe book that you're reading, which is what I was doing. And literally, when I tell you, this paragraph just came off the page at me, talking about having to rid the body of mucus and whatnot and detox. And it was as if in this moment I went, oh my gosh, I get it, I get it, I get it. And before I even got to really employ this system of detox, because I had already been trying to heal the gut and I was already seeing wonderful results, but it's like it was like I'm 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I couldn't see something consistent. And so when this happened, I can still remember my husband driving over to the laundromat because he had dropped me off with all the stuff, and he went and did some errands, came back and he grabbed me, and I got in the car and it was drizzling. So we're trying to get the fresh laundry, dry laundry into the trunk, and I am tucking, because you can imagine, oh my God, could you imagine being married to me tucking? And I am like, oh my gosh, I think I got it, I think I got it. And my husband, being a good man that he is, he did a lot of nodding, and he was kind of like, yeah, that's great. I was up all night reading like more on detox and more about, and noticing these patterns and going, oh my gosh, it's not food allergies, it's not food sensitivities. The reason it's working in some of these kids is maybe and if it's working quicker in these children who simply can just go off maybe gluten and dairy and dyes, or just some refined sugar, and all of a sudden they have these amazing results. It's not because they were allergic to those things. It's just because their level, this is how I see it, their level of inflammation was lighter than my child's level. That's why when I then put my older son Matthew on this for all of his behaviors, I at that point thought, I know it doesn't almost seem logical in the world of ADHD and ODD and ASD and PDA, like all of these acronyms that they're throwing, and Tourette's, because he had a lot of other behaviors too. I know it doesn't seem to make sense in what everyone's telling me, But logically, it's really making sense to me that if we can clean the body up of all that is causing or contributing to this inflammation, we can calm down the nervous system. And we can get a calmer child, a more focused child, a child who's able to learn, a child who's able to take in directions, which then over time is a child who, when they hear their name, isn't always in fight or flight and isn't ready to be like, and be angry and whatnot. And so now I'm really rambling, but I guess I just want you to know, I started this video just to say, like, you're equipped. I am not special in what I've figured out. I am not special at all. You're just as special. And you're the perfect person to bring recovery to your child because you already know their patterns. And you are going to be creative about how to give them simple to eat foods. You're going to be creative about not loading them up with preservatives because right now their gut just can't handle all of that. It can't handle all of that. Simple, easy to digest food so that your body can go, okay, hurry up, let's just digest this. We got some food in us, but now once we digest it, let's get back to the business at hand, which is to rebalance our whole system and start to eliminate that which doesn't support our body and our brain anymore. And by the way, folks, just to end it, because whenever I have a parent call me, they say, wait, but can Johnny go back to eating the way that he did? Yeah, over time, Johnny will be able to go back to eating the way that he did. Just like you, if you've had a couple of drinks and then you're hungover and you need to like cool it, yeah, you could go back to having a couple of drinks, but you got to be careful because is it good for you? So you start to weigh that, but you're an adult. You know what it feels like to feel off. You know how to look at the things that you've eaten or done and say, ooh, that's not working for me. But a child, they don't have any of that wherewithal. So you are just kind of stepping in the gap for them and you are showing them right now, hey, Johnny, we're just going to eat things that love our brain so that our brain can heal. Okay? Take care. See you soon. Bye.